Make the ground shake.
What's going on, guys? My name is Renegade. Today we're here for Class Comparisons Episode 2. Today we're going to be taking a look at SPELLSMITH versus DARKBLOOD STORMKING for farming. Now, this is for farming as was last week's episode, and so I'll quickly explain to you guys what makes a good farming class, but before we do that, if you guys leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, that'd be awesome. But yeah, so what makes up a good farming class is the class must be able to kill monsters quickly. That's an integral part of farming. Not necessarily AoE, as I've said before, but we need to just make sure that the class will be able to move from monster to monster very quickly, if not attack multiple monsters at once. And so this ensures that you complete your quest or whatever you're farming quicker. That's the whole point. You could use any class for farming, but what makes a good farming class is one that can farm quickly, one that can do everything quickly. And so AoE is almost always good for this because you can kill multiple monsters at once instead of just a single monster. And so what that means is you can kill monsters faster because you're killing more at once. You're attacking more at once. I guess help with this, you need to be able to heal. A farming class needs to be able to keep itself alive while doing so. Dying while farming is only going to slow things down, and so again, it's all about speed. That's basically the two things that you need in a farming class. Anything else is a bonus, but that basically makes up what a farming class is. We'll now get into the comparison. Alright, so we'll start off with SPELLSMITH and its strengths. SPELLSMITH's strengths basically consist of a couple of things. First of all, with full stacks of Sigil, which is the last ability on SPELLSMITH, you'll find that Energy Arc does massive damage to all monsters in the room. Whether it crits or not, this will still basically one-hit all small health monsters. So if you're farming low health monsters that all bunch together in a small number of rooms. So say you're farming a quest and you need to hop from room to room, and as the monsters respawn, you need to kill them quickly. Now, if these monsters have a low amount of health, you'll basically one-hit them if you have full stacks of Sigil. And Sigil is pretty easy to keep stacked if you just apply the move every so often. The almost constant need to have Sigil stacked means you will be constantly healing, which is kind of a weakness as well, because Sigil does consume mana, and therefore you are like taking away from the ability to use other moves, and you're taking away from the ability to use the other abilities in the class. But still, it means that you will be consistently healing if you keep Sigil stacked, which I think is a strength. I think that because you need to have it stacked, it means you'll be healing a lot. Now, both attacking abilities within SPELLSMITH apply haste debuffs, and Frost Flame, which is the non-AoE ability, has a chance to stun, which is useful, I suppose. Mana is almost never an issue, although that depends on how you take it. I'm treading carefully here when saying that. Yeah, just don't take that completely truthfully at the moment. Well, not truthfully, you know what I mean. However, using it significantly, mana is never an issue with the energy drain ability, but however, using it significantly decreases the player's damage and haste, which means that, yeah, you can use it and you'll regain basically all your mana, and like the ability itself doesn't consume any mana, so you can technically use the energy drain ability infinitely, but you'll really do quite a bit less damage, and your abilities will take quite a bit longer to recharge, so you need to keep that in mind. It really does almost take away from your farming. So that's a weakness and a strength. It just depends on how you take it. Now, the other weaknesses of SPELLSMITH, it only has one AoE ability, and it has a pretty long cooldown, considering the class only has one AoE ability of 10 seconds. Now, it does a lot of damage, which is something else to consider, like I said in the strengths, but yeah, it's only one ability. So it does make for a pretty slow farming experience, especially if you need to wait 10 seconds before you basically can start farming again. And all the abilities within SPELLSMITH actually consume a fairly large amount of mana. And while I mentioned that the mana regeneration is a strength, it is also a weakness, as I said, as it applies debuffs and it affects the player's ability to farm efficiently. So we'll now move on to DARKBLOOD STORMKING. Alright, so for DARKBLOOD STORMKING's strengths, we have multiple AoE abilities as opposed to SPELLSMITH's single AoE ability. The ability Thunderclap has a chance to stun, which is pretty effective considering that you're attacking 3 monsters at once, so you can have the chance to stun 3 enemies instead of just 1. with standard abilities like that in other classes. If you apply Skyfire, then spam Stormcall, and you need to keep in mind that Stormcall's cooldown is 3 seconds. You'll heal every time you use Stormcall, as well as deal damage, and I think it's for 10 seconds, but then you can keep applying Skyfire, and so you can have Skyfire constantly applied with Stormcall just spamming constantly, so you have a constant heal, and the heal is around 250 to 300, sort of around that range, so it's a pretty decent heal, especially for how often you can do it. And then as for like this little combination I just thought of, if you have the combination 4-3, then just spam 2. It means you'll do your damage, you'll have a stun, then you'll have more damage, then damage and a heal consistently over and over. All of that combined makes for a fairly fast farming experience, and also keeps the class user healthy. Although saying fast, I mean, like, you know, it's okay, I guess. It's fast-ish. Depends. It depends on how many crits you get and all that. But this is where it gets a bit, you know, not good. With DARKBLOOD STORMKING's weaknesses, the abilities deal fairly low damage in comparison to Troll SPELLSMITH. Remember, this is a class comparison, so everything I say is in contrast to something with, well, not necessarily in contrast. It's just, you know, I'm comparing it to Troll SPELLSMITH. The damage output is relatively low. Which is fine, I guess, for longer battles, but for short battles, you'll find that Troll SPELLSMITH is just clearing the monsters away, and this class is just really, like, not. And also, how DARKBLOOD STORMKING will excel, theoretically, is if you keep all the abilities applied. You keep using them over and over again. You just don't bother with the last move because it consumes 90 mana, and, I mean, you will regain mana back from using it. I mean, if I just use it now, I'll go grab DARKBLOOD STORMKING out of my inventory. Let's go equip. Alright. Upon applying Skyfire, or, you know, that ability there, Ball Lightning, it consumed 90 mana, but then I already gained back 24 mana without even doing anything else. So, you do gain some mana back, but again, it's not really recommended to be using Ball Lightning at all. I did consume almost all of my mana. I was remaining with 34 mana, so it really wasn't that good at all. But here's the problem. You gotta, to make this effective at farming, you have to keep applying Thunderclap, and then Skyfire, and then Stormcall, and then all those abilities continuously, and that's gonna consume a lot of mana. And the cooldowns are actually all quite long, and for the damage output, they're really not that good at all. But I mean, it's just not that viable, honestly. Like I can right now, I just ran out of mana, so I can't do my heal. I'm taking damage, my heal is back again though, alright, but like I'm having to wait for my abilities, and then I have to wait even longer to regain the mana back, so it's just not very fast at all. And then the abilities are missing, and it's like, it's just not that reliable, you know, it's just, the mana consumption is ridiculous. You got 40 mana on Thunderclap, 40 mana on Skyfire, and then 20 mana on Stormcall, and keep in mind Stormcall is the one you're supposed to be spamming. Sigil on Troll SPELLSMITH, you're in the same situation, where you have to spam it to stay healthy, but spamming that is fine, because then once you've spammed that, you can then use the first ability, which I believe is Arc Lightning, and that like most of the time will crit at least once, and that if you get at least one crit, you're gaining back like 50 mana. So it is a fairly glaring problem with DARKBLOOD STORMKING for any long periods of farming. It's really, yeah, it's got some pretty glaring issues. Now we've got to answer which one is better. Now this is my second time recording this, as I did actually do I was recording the footage for this, but like after I'd already recorded all the audio, and I noticed something. Okay, what I noticed was that no matter what I said about Troll SPELLSMITH's weakness, how it has the mana issue kind of thing, it always regenerates it because of the way that if you have Sigil stacked completely and then you use the first ability, I forget what it's called now, you're gonna, if you're attacking a full room of monsters, I believe it maxes out at 3, but don't quote me on that. I will look at it now. Actually, I'm logged onto AQW. Yeah, it doesn't actually say, but I think it maxes out at 3. I'll just confirm that quickly. Oh no, it can attack 4. Okay, so say you just use 3 as an example anyway. Say you attack 3 enemies. I can almost guarantee you that one of them is going to crit, and that's going to regain you like basically 50 mana. It regains about 50 mana if you crit with full stacks of sigil on that ability, and that's about a 3.9k crit. Now if you just keep spamming that and the second ability Frost Flame, you're dealing a very large amount of damage, and that in turn means you're going to be farming really, really well. You're farming pretty efficiently. Your abilities are dealing a lot of damage. They're not regenerating very fast, but your stacks of sigil, if you just keep stacking that, that's also going to keep you pretty healthy. Now, if you're attacking higher level monsters, like I use Shadow Realm as an example always, but if you're attacking something a bit higher than Shadow Realm monsters, the monsters there, then you're probably going to encounter some health-based issues, but that's probably where Darkblood Stormking is going to come into play, but still, I think as a farming class, in 99% of situations, Troll Spellsmith is going to be the better class for farming. Now, Darkblood Stormking does have some things over Troll Spellsmith. For example, Troll Spellsmith, Darkblood Stormking, it heals better, for starters. It heals much better. Sigil on Troll Spellsmith can heal about I think if you're using an unstable weapon, it changes it. I don't know why it does that, but yeah, I think it does. I'm using just a relatively stable weapon right now, and it heals between 150 and 300, which isn't really that great, especially for a 5-second cooldown and consuming 20 mana. But then again, you will regain that mana pretty easily. And using Energy Drain isn't all that bad. Like, it's bad, but it's not incredibly horrible, you know, like it decreases a crit from about 3.9k to like 2.8k, so it's not too bad. But yeah, I just think Troll Spellsmith is the better class. A lot of people were telling me when I was talking to people in AQW that Darkblood Stormking was better, but I just can't say that. Like, right now I'm looking at it and there's just no way that Darkblood Stormking is the better class. I'm attacking multiple monsters at once, trying to keep my abilities used so I can farm efficiently. Otherwise, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm just using my abilities sparingly, then I'm not farming very fast. So to get me to the point where I'm farming as fast as I possibly could with Darkblood Stormking, then I'm going to be using all my mana. And if I'm not using the abilities fast, then I'm not attacking very fast, and I'm not and I'm dealing as much damage as I could be. Either way, Darkblood Stormking loses in that situation. So I really do feel that like Troll Spellsmith is the better class for farming. But yeah, I feel like I've explained myself enough. If you guys have anything more to add, or you disagree with what I've said here, then by all means go to the comment section and give me some feedback on what I've said. If you guys want to leave me suggestions for future episodes, this is every Saturday at 3 PM Eastern Standard Time. I'll be uploading this series, so if you guys are excited to see that, then by all means subscribe. And leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.